it's getting a lot worse out there. And to be clear, this is not FUD. This is not uncertainty. It is getting worse for a lot of this sector. And to be clear, it's not crypto. Crypto's doing fine. I'll talk about why crypto's down a little bit here today. But it's getting much worse for banks. And there's another bank run that's happening over in Europe. So if you're just waking up in the US, well, this is what happened overnight, and this is what's happening right now. There may be some great opportunities for you to buy in. I also want to cover some PPI news. Now, I am heading to an appointment, so I apologize if I stumble through some of this. I just wanted to get this out to you because it is really important. Now, if you want to see future videos just like this that are time sensitive, hit that bell notification and turn on the bell notification after you hit the subscribe button. There's also a link down there to the Patreon in case you want to know exactly when I'm buying and selling. You can hit that right under the video. It will take you over to Patreon. Now, like I said, crypto is looking okay. Bitcoin's at 24,700. You can see we went right through this 200-week moving average. First of all, I think it would be really bullish if we just come back above and then retest it. That'd be really good if we flip that into support. But as you can see here, let's just go over to the 1 hour. We're still looking pretty bullish. I mean, we made a quick run up yesterday, and now we're just cooling down a little bit, but we're still much higher than we were right before the CPI reading. Keep in mind, PPI is coming out here in a few minutes. But there's something bigger that's happening right now. This is normal, just for a little pullback after such a big run, $7,000 in 3 or 4 days. But there's something bigger, like I said. Credit Suisse is the second largest bank in Europe. It's down 26% pre-market. And keep in mind, this is a $1.65 trillion US dollar bank. Now, this would put it as about the 5th largest in the US, but again, it's the 2nd largest in Europe. Massive, massive company, much bigger than Silicon Valley Bank. And now they are crashing for really 3 reasons. First of all, their biggest investor, which is the Saudi National Bank, said they will absolutely not, for many reasons, invest more into this bank. The simplest reason is just that they don't want regulation from Europe, from Switzerland. They basically don't want to get into the regulatory regime. So their largest investor is basically saying there's no way that they're going to invest more money into this bank. But that only is a problem because they're having a big bank run. Last year, they had 111 billion francs, or $122 billion, almost 10% of AUM, leave the bank in 3 months, going into December. And in their annual report, the bank said outflows had not reversed by the end of the year. And they've been having troubles for a while. Looking at the stock over the last 5 years, it's down significantly, like 90%. Since 2007, it's down 98% or something like that. So it's having massive problems. Now there's another problem. They have material weakness in their financial reporting, and they just scrapped bonuses for top executives. They said that they had customers withdraw billions of dollars last year, and this was the second biggest loss the largest loss since 2008. So that's not really good. First of all, they lost a lot of money. Second of all, they're having bad control and bad financial reporting. That's terrible for any company. It really sends the stock price down, but especially when it's a financial company. They said in their annual report they had found the group's internal control over financial reporting was not effective because it failed to adequately identify potential risks to financial statements. The board concluded that material weakness could result in misstatements of account balances or disclosures that would result in a material misstatement to the annual financial statements of Credit Suisse. So no wonder why people are selling this off, right? You're buying a financial company that can't actually report proper financials. So the stock is selling off like crazy. At the same time, they're having a lot of withdrawals. It makes sense, right? People are withdrawing their money because they don't trust this bank at this point, and there's no more liquidity. So they probably are invested in a lot of treasuries as well, some bonds that are illiquid. And now the price of credit default swaps for Credit Suisse is spiking. It's 553. The industry average is much lower. If we look here, you can see Deutsche Bank 5-year credit default swaps are at 99.48%. So the market is now pricing in probability of default of 38% for Credit Suisse. Now, this is affecting other bank stocks as well over in Europe. I think this will affect the US as well. And now BlackRock CEO is saying more bank seizures could occur going forward. He specifically names out regional banks, but he does think that because the government stepped in so swiftly, it will help. It will decrease the amount of seizures and banks going down. Now, let's take a look at the Fed rate. So basically, there's all this fear. We may have some great prices for actually strong banks in the US, so be on the lookout for that. Now, there's a 50% chance that we will have 0 rate hikes and a 50% chance that we'll get 25 basis points. So that obviously is being priced into the market. That's why we had such a great day yesterday. But we'll see how that affects today, because last time the market was really worried when we did have all this uncertainty over banks. Now, in the title to this video, you might have seen that I said, get your money out now, because I think we have to be careful. Keeping too much money in one bank obviously is a risk, especially if you're over the FDIC limit. Keeping your money in USD, I think, is a risk. If you have 100% of your worth and you're worth a decent amount, I think it's a risk doing that. I think you should have some hedge against these kinds of currencies because they continuously deflate, right? We continuously see the US dollar, Swiss francs, whatever it is, going down in value. And while Bitcoin is volatile, at least it lets you hold the keys to your own future. It lets you hold your own money, and you don't have to be worried about some big bank seizure. You don't have to be worried about having to go through FDIC or moving your money around last second, right? If you hold Bitcoin on cold storage, I think that is one of the best things you can do to mitigate risk. And again, the price in US dollars might fluctuate a lot, but one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. And the fact is, I think everyone should have a little bit of insurance, even if it's, 0.1% of your net worth. If you don't like Bitcoin at all, I think it makes sense to be properly hedged. And again, if nothing else, it's good for liquidity, right? Silicon Valley Bank went down, and a lot of the tech companies, if they just had some Bitcoin, they would still be able to have paid their employees. Otherwise, if the US didn't step in, a lot of these companies would be bankrupt because they had zero liquidity outside of the banking system. Now, if you want to buy a cold storage wallet, there are links underneath the video. This basically reinforces why Bitcoin was made in the first place. Just my opinion, but let's move over to PPI news. Now, PPI just came in really low. PPI month over month, actual was negative 0.1%, expected 0.3%. They say US PPI announced was 4.6%, forecast was 5.4%. So really bullish, I think, just coming out here. But I'll do another video explaining this more later today because I am heading to an appointment and I have to be out the door in 10 minutes and download this and upload it. So thank you so much for watching. Crypto's starting to move up on this news. Hopefully we don't have too bad a day in the markets because of the banks, but there may be some great deals. And if you want to see what bank stock I'm buying, because I did buy one the other day, join the Patreon underneath the video. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.